Well, short winter's day in November, not much daylight, and yet here I am heading up two very sizable hills at just, well, it's almost 11:30 in the morning. 2 hours later than I was expecting to be starting to walk, because coming down the glen just now there was a guy stuck in a ditch. His van, in his rear wheel drive van, skidded off into a ditch because of the ice. So we spent 2 hours sat there waiting for a council gritting lorry to come along and help get him out. Finally, come down the glen, parked at Inverlochlarig, which is where I am, and I'm on my way. So I might have to cut my day short and just do Stob Binnein rather than Stob Binnein and Ben. This beautiful, beautiful glen is the one that stretches west from Balquidder, which is just up the way, and that down there, that's Inverlochlarig, which is the end of this road. There's a nice track which continues up the glen, which is a nice way of accessing the hills that are up there, like Drain and Benvironment and all those ones that are over there. Nice way of accessing those hills. There's a few corbets on the other side. But it's very nice, very quiet part of the world. But yes, Stob Binnein and Ben were supposed to be my targets. It'll probably just end up being Stob Binnein. The two hills, Ben being the bigger of the two, they form a very distinctive pairing that can be seen from probably most of Scotland, even from the south. Even when you're up in the southern uplands, you can see them. It's like a double jagged line, two great big triangles on the horizon, sort of paired together. Typically, Ben is climbed from the north, from over by Untitled. Coming at it from this end is a much quieter approach. My route today is taking me up this very steep, I mean, it's practically you come out the car park, you come over the stile, and the first step on the hill is sort of, you know, your first step is up. So it doesn't waste any time, there's no gentle introduction. Straight up this, which I think is called Stob Binnein, this big steep prow that overlooks the glen, up there, and then just following the ridge north to Stob Binnein. See how we're doing for time, then we're supposed to come down, big ascent back up to Ben, and then back down Ben to the pass in between the two hills, and then heading east into Glencarneg, which comes out on this road a couple of kilometres further up. Don't really fancy coming all the way down here again. It's nice to mix it up a bit, and usually I do a circuit. I've turned this walk into a circle rather than doubling back on myself. Oh, here comes that wonderful moment when we come into sunshine. Oh, dearie me. It's very cold today. It's -5 or -6 down there. Suddenly a lot warmer. Punishing a start though it is, undeniably, I do like it as a way of just not wasting any time. Heading straight on up, head down, power on. Sometimes that's nice, rather than faffing about with false summits and all other sorts of things. It's quite nice just to power up sometimes. And you can stop every now and then to admire the rather special view. It's just so much more, it's just a much quieter approach. So much more appealing, although I say I've never done it, I've never actually come up from the north. But this is much more appealing than coming up with the A82. A82, was it the other one? Whichever road comes from Lochernhead, that road, whatever that road is, that comes up on its way to Untitled, thundering below Ben as you're heading up. This is quieter, this is nicer. Apart from the people getting stuck in their transit vans with rear-wheel drive on icy roads. It's funny, there was a lady in the car behind me. Actually, she was in front of me when I first arrived, and she was off to work down there at the lodge, at the farm. She was 2 hours late for work because she couldn't get through. So I did have my winter tyres put on just the other week, which doesn't necessarily help with ice, of course, but it does help with general traction. Although it's the same with having a four-wheel drive. If you've got some swanky four-wheel drive, it's all very well having a swanky four-wheel drive or winter tyres, but ultimately they're useless if the person in front of you hasn't got such things and they're stuck. It doesn't help you at all. This is the stile at the top of this slog, which always makes for a nice place to stop for a bit and take stock and get your breath. Oh dear. Well, I'm sure it looks like because I'm sweating, it looks like it's 20 degrees or something, but it isn't. It's like -2 or something, or -3 up here, -5 or 6 down in those shadows down there. Very cold. But what a glorious day. Just look at this. If it looks like I'm just getting very lucky with the weather over the last few vlogs, it's not really the case. It has been like this for the longest while. Last week I was on Skernackvor, I was at Dromocta, and just astonishing weather, and then there was a mild blip on the Sunday, the following Sunday, just for one day, where the freezing level rose, which is why the snow is looking quite patchy lower down, you can see. All of this would have been snow, quite deep snow, but there was a bit of a thaw and the rain came in, but it didn't actually last for long. And then the temperatures plummeted again, and we've been back to sort of cloud inversions, temperature inversions, foggy down below, very still, very calm blue skies up top. And we have another cracking day like this. It's going to be like it again tomorrow as well. It's been like it all week. It's astonishing, beautiful weather. Typically, it's the other way around. You have sort of mild mush for most of the time, especially last winter, at this time last winter, when it was it one of the wettest, or the wettest or second wettest November on record, and then followed by the wettest calendar month. I think December was the wettest calendar month on record in Scotland of any month ever since 1910. So it was a very mild, very wet, very windy, about 15-16 degrees a lot of the time, with the occasional cold blip. But it's the other way around this year. It's cold with mild blips, and it's looking like, apart from getting a little bit wet and windy again on Monday, Tuesday next week, again it's going to cool down again as we approach December. So we're hoping that this is actually going to start building a base, because last week the snow was quite hard going. And you do need a sort of a thaw of sorts, even if it is just from the sun doing this, or a bit of evaporation. You do need that just to sort of compact it and bed it down and give you a nice substantial base, a nice cold base as well, that more snow can build up on top of. So we've got the startings of a good base just now, which is very encouraging. And you really have to seize these days, don't you? Because how often does this sort of thing come along? Like I say, it's going to do it tomorrow, but it's going to be more cloud, and it's going to be a bit windier. So to have the weather like this and just absolutely still like it is now, whether it will be like that on top, I don't know. They're saying it's going to be below 10 miles an hour, the wind, which is very, very calm. But tomorrow it's going to be windier. So either day would have been good, but seeing as I've had precious few walks like this recently, and none like this last year, seize it now. Take the better day. The only thing I have forgotten though, in my rush, and in the confusion this morning with having been stuck behind that van for 2 hours, and then parking and rushing to get up, I've forgotten my sunglasses. The one thing I probably need most today, in fact, apart from sun cream. Last week I forgot my jacket, this week I forgot my sunglasses. I think it's just old age. Anyway, let's push on. What with the thaw, and a bit of new snow in fact as well. When that rain came through, it's difficult to know what kit to bring. I mean, obviously ice axe crampons are the default, especially now there has been a thaw. You're more likely to encounter patches of ice, glazed ice, that might need crampons over. And still, even though we haven't had any strong winds, now that the snow's building up, you get into the point where you might have consolidated snow that might have thawed and refrozen. It's going to be quite hard. So the ice axe has come with me today, as have the snowshoes, more out of a possibility rather than the expectation. I don't know if I actually believe that there'll be enough snow up there to use them, but I wouldn't want to get all the way up there and have to find that I'm wading and trudging and not being able to actually make easy progress. So I brought them anyway, and like I said last week, it's not that much extra weight. Oh, we're now getting quite spectacular views down Loch Foyle, which I say it's in that direction that goes towards Balquhidder. That of course being Benvironment over there. Wow. Bit special, isn't it? Well, doesn't curse you with full summits too much actually, Stob Binnein. Do have to get up this one first, and that's kind of the start of the ridge, which narrows a little bit up there and leads over to the summit, which isn't that up there. It's much further on. It's a big hill, so you wouldn't expect it to give itself over too easily. Just can't get over this view and how still it is. Again, 2 weeks in a row. Well, it was getting a bit energy sapping, even following in someone's footprints. So I've swapped over for these, if only for a little bit. Certainly all this stuff here is a bit more consolidated and it's actually holding the weight. There was none of this last week. In Dromoster, the snow was all new. So at no point could you have stood on top of snow like that. It was all fresh, and since then it's all compacted and there's been new snow on top. That's what you want. Look at this is great. Animal comes along, compresses, or feet, or humans actually too, boots, you see this happen with boots, compresses the snow, and then the rest of the snow gets blown away from around the footprint, and it leaves them sort of elevated up, slightly raised up. Slopes like this kind of consistency where these snowshoes really come into their own. They've got this heel lift that sits down most of the time. You lift it up when you're going uphill and it spares your ankles some strain. Of course it's got teeth on the bottom, so it gives you a bit of purchase. There's a tooth on the toe as well, which digs in when you move forwards. So it's quite handy going up like this. Well, it's still quite tough going because the snow's getting quite wet now. Oh, here we are emerging onto the ridge finally. It's all fairly easy going from here, even though there's still a lot more up to go. This in here is Glen Carnegie. Well, that's where I'm going to come down. Probably going to come down Stob Binnein now, this flank here. And that should be a nice snowy walk out all the way back down to the road. Well, it's a little chillier up here. The wind's a bit more keen than I was expecting. Oh, it's still very, very gentle, very small. Not much wind really at all. But it's starting to get a bit more grassy, a bit scoured, so I'm back to just boots again. 5 to 3, and it's been quite slow going actually. I did think when I was coming up, and I kind of decided I wasn't going to do Ben more because it's only an hour of daylight left, and it's a bit of a knackering ascent anyway, and I've been faffing quite a lot with the camera. But I thought it would be nice if I could take my time and still be up here once the sun's just falling a little bit lower and everything's going starting to go a little bit of a golden colour, which is what it's starting to do now because it's getting so low. It's lovely. The views out this way are quite something too, because you can see all the way up to the head of Loch Tay, which is over there, and then over here it's Benvironment over there. All the way in the distance, the white in the distance is a Cairngorms, which is occupying the whole of that far horizon. But not far to go now anyway, just along here and up, only about 15 minutes, and then I'll come back down and head down this ridge and into Glen Carnaig, which is that way. Funny, of the two hills, if you had to pick one you had to go up, I think I'd probably pick Stob Binnein, to be honest. It's a bit more shapely, nice long ridges. Benmore has better views out that way, north, and over Inverlochlarig and out towards the hills at Black Mountain, towards Glencoe of course, but Stob Binnein is a nice hill, plus the summit up there, it ends in quite a small, not a point, but it's not very big, so it's quite small. You sort of arrive and it's, oh, we're here. So it's a nice top to get to. Way off in the distance, way off over there is Arran. Final haul. Well, there we are. Summit of Stob Binnein. What a view. The sun is just about to dip below the hills. It's 25 to 4. It's just occurred to me that I've come full circle. The very, very first video blog I did, I was cowering behind this cairn. To get out the wind. I had a rubbish little Samsung Ace phone. The wind noise on it was appalling. And it was, I think it was only like 5 minutes long or something, and I don't know if I ever intended to do loads more video blogs after that. I don't know really what I envisaged myself doing with this, but here I am. It's a 74th or 75th, 76th video blog, I think. I wouldn't have imagined it sitting here all the way back then in 2012 that I would have been doing that for the last 4 years. But here we are, 4 years later, on the 70-something video blog, and it's exactly the same sort of conditions as it was that day, only not as windy. Just amazing views out that way, looking over to Benvironment over there again, Benledi over there. I can see all the way out to Dumfries and Galloway. The southern uplands are over there in the distance. I can see across the water, yeah, Dumfries and Galloway's over there, Arran is over there, I can see Jura over there, I can see forever. But I can't really hang about much longer. Sun's about to go down, so I need to head down too. Heading down, sadly, heading down into the darkness down there. I really want to hang around here and linger and just experience the amazing colours that are happening here on Benmore especially. Things will be going pink soon as well, but I can't really hang around for that. Gonna head down. Awesome. Well, here comes that sad time where you have to dip down into the darkness and lose the sunshine, although it's almost down anyway. So one last look at the world above. Plunge into the world below. Well, although we're out of, we've lost the sunshine, it's actually quite nice to be sheltered for the first time in a while. The snow's accumulated to a greater extent down on this side. Oh, down to my thighs. Right. Just the most amazing colours we're getting now. It seems to be the way in winter. When I've been camping in winter and I've been camping at the top of hills, you get that funny sort of pinky yellow across the horizon, which you don't get in, you don't really get in summer. One of the attractions of camping high in winter, if you could stomach the cold. So all in all, it's a day that didn't turn out remotely as planned. It goes to show how, you know, these are just, I mean, these are two big hills that has, you know, granted they are two big Munros, but it does go to show how you really do need a full day with a very early start this time of year. Granted, I've been faffing with the camera a lot. Even so, it is a bit of a push this time of year, and just losing those 2 hours this morning took its toll. But I'm not sad at all, because I'm up here probably later than I planned being up here, but I have got to see this incredible light, which is worth the price of admission in itself. Happily now, as soon as the sun goes, it's all this snow's firming up again. So it should be, hopefully, a simple, straightforward walk out. There's not actually that much snow to get through before you get down to there. A memorable day for all kinds of reasons, but an awesome finish. Time to go home.